one.
Hello everyone, Skippy here, and welcome to One Piece episode 979. Directed by Toshihiro Maeda from Toshinori Fukuzawa's board, and supervised by Shinichi Suzuki, Song Hyun-ji, Lee Yu-sung, and Kim Yu-jin. In the past, I've been a bit down on a lot of Magic Busting Kawanuri episodes because they're generally just a bit of a lesser experience than most of the in-house ones. This episode doesn't really look like it'll mirror the rest of their efforts in the past, as the board itself is already showing promise for one thing, but the art quality is looking absurdly consistent outside of Ichikawa's corrections, despite the Magic Bust section being done by someone who supervised one of the weakest Enies Lobby episodes with Suzuki. And similarly to the preview for last week's episode, it doesn't show much, so it leaves a lot of room for us to be surprised as to what the end product will end up being. I'm still keeping my expectations fairly standard just so I don't end up getting truly disappointed by it, but I wouldn't be shocked if this ends up being one of the best outsourced episodes in Wano that isn't by Studio Guts. Low bar, I know. So will episode 979 effectively use the resources at its disposal to surprise me? Let's sail on back to the port and find out. This episode covers the remainder of chapter 975 and the first 5 pages of chapter 976, and is pretty decently paced as far as the whole package goes, but the first half unfortunately suffers a bit from too much recap in places, including the bombing of the ships that we've seen for 2 episodes before this, and a few too many launch shots and reactions that aren't as bad as a few weeks ago, but still drag on nonetheless. Thankfully though, the second half is a lot more tight in that regard despite not covering comparatively as much, and that might be made even the slightest bit better thanks to small filler like Luffy and Kid destroying another ship, and an extended fight between Kawamatsu and Kanjuro, which is I think all it could really do as far as filler concerned outside of some slight comedic moments from Kiku. And any and all of the episode's shortcomings on this front is really saved by the fact that the content at hand is done fairly well directorially in tone, with nice comedic and serious voice direction when needed and a wonderful selection of OST that proves to me that they're trying to use so many more Stampede tracks as of late. It's definitely not the premium feeling that last week brought, but it still invokes that feeling of hope being raised and then quickly dashed once Momo is taken away. And when Maea's execution of Fukuzawa's board is pretty well done, it leaves us with a fairly decent adaptation to screen that is just a bit away from being better due to things out of its control. While Fukuzawa's board was good once again, and I'm very glad that he's producing boards for outsourced episodes, I can't help but think that it was a tad bit lacking. Now that's not to say that this board was bad, because it had a lot of vibrant and cool ideas from him like always that don't go over the top, not that that'd be a bad thing, but I feel that the surrounding compositions look a lot more average in comparison despite being completely serviceable, and that there was so much more he could have done with a board like this based off what we've seen him do before as far as visual cues is concerned. Of course, I'm not calling this board bad whatsoever or anything, as it's perfectly readable despite there being a couple of repeated shots here and there that eagle-eyed viewers might get annoyed at, with it accompanied by corrections from our chief supervisors Matsuda and Ichikawa that outside of some goons pretty much erase the supervisors for Magic Busting Kawanuri. 979 ends up being a perfectly fine episode. It's by far one of the best MB and K episodes out there in this arc, and it may not try anything amazing and is bogged down a bit in the first half, but it's serviceable and never feels absolutely dreadful to watch on the whole, doing the content justice. And with next week's return to in-house episodes with episode 980, I'm pretty excited for it given how the preview looks. Masayuki Takagi's corrections for one thing look as extreme and polished as ever, which really helps this episode harbor an intense look, and works really well with Kenichi Takeshita's similarly atmospheric board with camera shakes galore. Top it off with some surprising looking animation that might not be much compared to some episodes, but will definitely be nice in its own right. Momo's plea should definitely hit all the right notes. Anyways guys, that's it for now. I'm Skippy, and what the fuck